Biggest college football game this season kicks off Monday night, the national championship between Washington and Michigan. I'm going to let you know how to play both the side and total and make some money when you do so. All that information coming up free for the national championship here in just a moment. Hi, this is Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com, right back here on Wager Talk TV, breaking down the national championship game this Monday night. Kicks off at 7:30 Eastern, a little bit earlier than other previous editions, so don't miss the kickoff, 7:30 Eastern. Of course, nowadays, with live betting, it's so easy to bet in-game, and sometimes that's actually a better option. Hey, comment below in the comments and let me know, do you think this is a better pregame or in-game betting situation? I think there's an argument to be made for both. I'm going to give you the pregame side in total, and also some ways we can analyze it throughout to see if maybe things are changing. We need to get on a bet more or get off a bet. That's the beauty of in-game betting, as many of you know and use on a weekly basis. All right, let's recap last week, first of all. Obviously, a back-and-forth game there in overtime between Michigan and Alabama. Michigan pulls it out. Keep in mind, had they not missed an extra point in regulation, they would have won that game. Although Alabama would have gone for two late, and it would have either been a tie or a two-point loss. That line moved from 1 to 2 during the couple of weeks before and up to the game. So, boy, would that have been crazy as far as how it landed right on the spread. Of course, the Washington-Texas game, that was not the case. Washington led outright and won outright. Really nothing misleading about that. And I know so many of you watching that video were happy to chime in and say, told you, Merrill, Washington, best team ever, beat Texas. Well, look, I liked Texas in that game. It was the only game I got wrong on Monday. I went 4-1 against the spread, by the way, for my 5 New Year's Day Bowl best bets for my clients. 8-2 bowl run going back over the past week. So not going to get them all right, but I told you I thought the line was short because the public was heavy on Washington. And yes, the public got it right. And as we talk about in my Fade the Public video in the NFL every week, we don't just blindly fade the public. It's a filter. It's one of the many factors we use. And not surprisingly, the public is heavy, even heavier now on the Washington Huskies in the finals. And I've used the TCU analogy from last year a few times. And it's not a perfect analogy because, first of all, I want to make it very clear. TCU was not nearly as good last year as Washington is this year. Washington's a legitimate top 5, top 10 team. They have been all season. I don't even think TCU was a top 10 team last year. And I clearly said that last season when they beat Michigan in the semis. I thought it was a misleading win. And then, of course, they got blown out. Biggest blowout in championship game history. So we made a lot of money with Georgia last year in the finals. I don't think Washington had a misleading win over Texas. I'm not even sure Washington was any worse than Texas. I don't think Texas necessarily even a top 5 team this season. With that said, though, I do think Michigan is the better team in the national finals. They deserve to be in the national finals. And had Alabama held on to win, they would have been favored in this game as well. So both Bama and Michigan really were playing the national championship, in my opinion. The question is, does Michigan still have something in the tank after that barn burner of a game into overtime? I think they do. Both teams have to travel, same rest situation, just 6 days off. It is a short week, theoretically. You know, sometimes teams get 7 or 8 days, depending on when the semifinal games are played, if they're sometimes played on a Friday or Saturday. This year they were late. They were on Monday because it was New Year's Day and the NFL had Sunday locked up on New Year's Eve. I think it benefits the better team with shorter preparation. Now, with that said, I think Washington has the better coach, and that is the real X factor once again. And that's why Washington, hey, look, I can see how you can make a case for Washington as a live dog because they have one of the best, if not the best, college football coaches in the nation. This guy's won on every level, really impressive, even non-Division I championships. It is something I use in my handicapping, but I also like to fade the public when they're on dogs, and the public is on Washington big in this game. As I do this video late the week before the game, as we head into the weekend, currently 4.5 across the board. I would expect this line to maybe drop, though, and the public push it a little bit lower by kickoff Monday night. Now, we don't just blindly fade the public, but I do think there's other reasons to like Michigan in this game. First of all, a very good defensive team here in Michigan. They definitely had the defensive edge. I do think Washington's the better offensive team, definitely the more explosive team, better quarterback. But Michigan, look, Washington averaged 9.5 yards per pass. Penix Jr. may be the best quarterback in the country this year. I know he was close to winning the Heisman. LSU, Daniels got it done. But McCarthy's had a pretty nice season, a really good game manager as well for Michigan. Not as flashy, but they're still averaging 73% completions and 9 yards per pass attempt. Very similar numbers. Now, Washington gives up almost a yard per pass more defensively. However, they faced opponents that averaged almost a yard per pass more because they're in the Pac-12, the heavy pass Pac-12. So I do think both these pass defenses are pretty equal here. Where there will be a huge edge, though, is on the run D, and that's where Michigan has the advantage. They're a yard per rush better than opponents played, 3.1 versus 4.5 for Washington. Washington faced slightly tougher offensive teams once again. They faced a tougher schedule overall. Washington did run the ball a little bit better, 4.6 to 4.3, but they faced weaker run D. So once again, the rushing offense is pretty equal. Washington, a little bit better pass attack, passing D is equal, but I do think Michigan has a big edge on the line of scrimmage with the run defense, and that could very well be the difference. And on road games away from home this year, really noticeable. Michigan 3.1 yards per rush allowed, Washington 4.8. So if there's one X factor in this game, I think it's the run D, the line of scrimmage play, and that's where Michigan has their biggest edge. We'll see if it holds up. Keep in mind, Michigan can run the ball better, too, than the 160 yards per game indicates. And I think they will have more success running the ball than people expect in this game against a very mediocre Washington rush defense. That was the Achilles heel of the Huskies this season. And I think Michigan can exploit it. And I'll go back to the Penn State game in early November. Penn State was giving up, what was it, like 50 or 60 yards per game at that point, only like 2.5 yards per carry. Michigan goes on the road, goes in there and runs for 227 yards against that Nittany Lion defense that was almost twice as good statistically as Washington's is right now. So I do think Michigan will look to establish the run more. You can make an argument that Michigan in the under, Washington in the over are somewhat correlated as far as parlays go. I wouldn't disagree with that, but I actually lean over in this game. Even though I lean Michigan, I lean over the total as well. If Michigan establishes the running game, that could be a bit of a problem for the overplay. But these championship games, as we saw on Monday in the semis, have a tendency to be higher scoring than the numbers would tell you. One of the reasons I went 4-1 on my official best bets last Monday, New Year's Day, my 5 bowl games went 4-1 against the spread. I cast overs in both the semifinal games. Michigan, Alabama. Now, yes, that was fortunate because of overtime, but the Washington, Texas game was a pretty easy over the 62 to 63 points. And I look for a similar type of game here. Keep in mind, last year, that Michigan TCU game I referenced was in the 90s, a shootout, and we've seen some national title games get up there as well over the past decade. And once again, Washington does have some weaknesses on defense, especially the run D. They're an explosive offense. Both teams are averaging over 36, 37 points a game. Total is only 56, and that's because of the defensive numbers. But these are two very good offensive teams that I think will get some points this week. And with only 6 days to prepare, I think there's less defensive game planning that can happen, and that benefits the offenses as well. So I do like the over 56 in this game on Monday night between Michigan and Washington. Hey, comment below. Let me know your thoughts. Does Washington do it again? I know there's a lot of Husky love out there. I saw it last week in the Texas video. Man, there's no way Washington be an underdog. They can't lose. Hey, you might be right. Michigan hasn't lost yet this season either. Here's what I like, guys. We will have an undefeated national champ, and I think that's a great thing because Florida State and Liberty were both exposed last week. The two biggest bowl underdogs of the season were the two other undefeated teams. They're no longer. And, of course, both Texas and Alabama had a loss. So now we have the two undefeated teams. It's a great title game, and one of the teams will be the national champ with no losses this year and an incredible 15-0 straight-up record. More power to them. Who do you think it'll be? Comment below. Let me know your thoughts on this game. The best way to attack it, side total or in-game? Are you going to wait till it kicks off and see if Washington can stop the Michigan running attack or how it plays out? You get some great adjusted line values sometimes with those in-game lines. So comment below. I read all the comments. I reply back. Let's win together here on Wager Talk TV. Hit the like, the thumbs up, and don't forget to hit subscribe and hit the bell for instant alerts so you know when my NFL Fade the Public video goes up every week. My college basketball top 25 video is going to start now that we're in January, and also the daily NBA and college pro basketball previews, NFL previews for the week as well. Hit subscribe and hit the bell for instant alerts. And don't forget, if you want my official best bets, not only for the national title game, I'm giving you a lot of info here for free, but how about the daily basketball best bets? How about the rest of the NFL season and playoffs and Super Bowl and all those props as well? You know, in 2022 and 2023 combined, the last 2 years combined, nobody has won more units in all sports than I have on side best bets at Wager Talk. Last year in the NBA alone, I was 103 and 63, up over 130 units in the NBA. We're off to a great start in basketball this season. Why not watch it continue in 2024 and get on board my number one ranked service and do so for just over $3 a day? My New Year's special, I offered it earlier in the week. I know many of you took advantage and locked up a full year, 365 days of all sports for just over $3 a day with promo code SM365. Well, if you missed out, you didn't miss out because I've got the promo still up through this week. You can get it right now and save big, an instant 41% discount for a full year. And hey, look, you missed a nice start to 2024, but the good news is you get some of 2025 now with that full year package. You get into the first week of January next year and get all those New Year's Day bowls that went 4-1 this year. You'll get them next year with the 365 special, and you'll do so for just over $3 a day. But you got to have that promo code SM365. Full details on my page, along with daily free plays. Check out the daily free plays as well. Steve Merrill, wagertalk.com. Get there quicker with shortcut wt.buzz/SM. Follow me on Twitter as well at Steve Merrill, 2 R's, 1 L, at Steve Merrill on Twitter. Also post free plays throughout the week on Instagram. I'm on IG. Who knew? Follow me on Instagram. And once again, comment below. I read all the comments. I love the support. Let's win together here. Enjoy the national championship game. And stay tuned right here on Wager Talk TV for more great daily basketball and football previews coming up next.